was sufficient to see him through the rest of his life. His father, Heinrich Floris Schopenhauer, had been one of the wealthiest businessmen in Danzig at the time of Arthur's birth. A cosmopolitan man, committed to the liberal values of the Enlightenment and to republicanism, he left Danzig when it was annexed by Prussia and moved to the free city of Hamburg. Arthur had in common with his father a love of French and English culture and a horror of Prussian nationalism. The name Arthur was chosen because it was shared by several European languages, though the intention here was chiefly to fit the infant for his envisaged career in pan-European commerce. Later, Arthur felt he had also inherited his father's intense, obsessive personality. His father's death in 1805, probably by suicide, was a great blow to him. Schopenhauer received a broad and enriching education in school, enhanced by the travel and social contacts that his wealthy family made possible. Sent to France at the age of 9 when his sister was born, he acquired fluent French. After some years of schooling, at the age of 15, he embarked with his parents on a 2-year trip to Holland, England, France, Switzerland, and Austria. He saw many of the famous sights of the day, and at times was deeply affected by the poverty and suffering he witnessed. While his parents toured Britain, however, he was consigned to a boarding school in Wimbledon, whose narrow, disciplinarian, religious outlook, a marked contrast to the education he had hitherto received, made a negative impression that was to last. This episode says much about Schopenhauer's character and upbringing. He was a seething, belligerent pupil who would not submit to the stultifying practices that surrounded him, and he seems quite isolated in his defiance. His parents wrote to him, his father niggling about his handwriting, his mother gushing about the wonderful time they were having and pleading with him to take a more reasonable attitude. But neither showed much inclination to seeing things from his point of view. It is tempting to view the situation as a microcosm of his later life. As his life progressed, it became clearer that it would not be constructed around close relationships with others. He began to see company as like a fire at which the prudent man warms himself at a distance, and resolved to be lonely even when with others, for fear of losing his own integrity. He later wrote that 5/6 of human beings were worth only contempt, but equally saw that there were inner obstacles to human contact. Nature has done more than is necessary to isolate my heart, in that she endowed it with suspicion, sensitiveness, vehemence, and pride. He was prone to depression and confessed, "I always have an anxious concern that causes me to see and look for dangers where none exist." Some writers on Schopenhauer's personality have looked to his relationships with his parents, and what they have found is not surprising. His father was an anxious, exacting, and formidable man, very ambitious for his son. Johanna Schopenhauer, née Trosina, also from a successful business family in Danzig, was quite different. A lively, sociable person, she had literary aspirations, which culminated in a career as a romantic novelist, making her, during her lifetime, more famous than her son. She was a significant force in his life, but relations between them were never warm. In her marriage, too, as she wrote herself, she saw no need to feign ardent love for her husband, adding that he did not expect it. After Heinrich Schopenhauer died, the independently minded Johanna was free to embark on her own career, and moved to Weimar, where she established an artistic and intellectual salon frequented by many of the luminaries of the day. Arthur benefited from some of the relationships he established in this circle, notably with Goethe, and with the Oriental scholar Friedrich Meyer, who stimulated in him a lifelong interest in Indian thought. However, his relationship with his mother became stormy, and in 1814 she threw him out for good, never to see him again.